Aloha and welcome to Business in Hawaii with Reg Baker. We are broadcasting live from the downtown studios of Think Tech Hawaii in the Pioneer Plaza. We broadcast every Thursday from 2 to 3 o'clock, and we cover positive stories about business in Hawaii. We've heard about the challenges. We know that there's some issues out there, but there are people who are successful. And again, today we have a couple that have proven that to be so. Newman Consulting does a lot of consulting work in workforce development and helping with the military. We've got Danelia Newman, who is the founder and CEO of the company. And then we also have the other half of the team, John Newman. Thank you both for
very much, Rich, for having us on the show.
Glad to be here.
Happy that you could join us. You were on the show back in October. We
Correct.
were talking a little bit, and you had a real success story with you when you came that time. But there's been some recent developments. Some things have been going on. And from what I've heard, you've got a recent appointment now by the mayor.
I did. I was actually received a letter appointing me to by the mayor of the city and county of Honolulu to the Oahu Workforce Development Board.
Very good. Workforce Development Board.
Yes.
That's a mouthful. That sounds very important.
Right.
I guess we do have a very low unemployment rate here.
Correct.
And so we do need to have some sort of solution to our work labor pool shortage.
Right.
And is this going to help us solve that problem?
Well, we hope so. Hopefully that's one of the goals, but also one of the, I'm going to actually read the purpose of it as written down by the mayor, which is the purpose of the board is to strengthen the United States workforce development system through innovation in and alignment and improvement of employment, training and education programs in the United States and to promote individual and national economic growth.
So training and education, that's exactly what you guys do.
Exactly. That might have been one of the reasons we were appointed.
Maybe it is. Yeah, and so in layman's terms, what do you think that means? I know this is a new appointment for
Yes.
you, but what does all this mean? What is the actual results that we're going to see from this board?
Well, the goal is that the programs that we put together be more closely aligned with the needs of employers, and training programs will be held accountable for helping job seekers get back to work. Currently, for example, Newman Consulting Services is a WorkLinks training provider for youth and adult, and actually WorkLinks is known as the Workforce Investment Act, which is WIA, known as WIA. Well, that now has gone away and they're replacing it with the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, which is something that President Obama is putting into place. And so he has tasked each state with developing these programs that will not only help the state but also help the United States as a whole. The goal is that the United States remain competitive and grow jobs.
Okay, so I know wearing my SBA, Small Business Administration hat, particularly here in Hawaii, we've always had a little bit of a disconnect between what the employers need as far as skills in their newly hired employees and what's currently available. And not being critical, but what's coming out of the schools sometime is not exactly the skill sets or the training that the employers really need. And so there's some remedial type of training that has to be done. I know you've been doing that yourself as Newman Consulting, but is this board going to address some of that, you think, and maybe help bring the expectations in line with reality?
I believe that's one of the goals. I was just appointed to the position. So my understanding is that there has not been a board meeting yet. So that's for future notice.
New.
This is brand new.
That'll be a reason to bring us back on.
That's
exactly.
right.
Okay.
Exactly.
To give you an update.
But the goal is employer engagement, having employers be engaged. And of course, what I believe that's one of the reasons we're on as well. We're also an employer. We know what employers are looking for. And that's why one of the reasons we have our licensed vocational school is because we teach job readiness programs, we teach employment development programs, and because we really understand what is missing right now in that gap.
What do you think are the big skill sets? What are the one or two biggest items that you need to focus on that's maybe disconnected?
Let me share one.
Sure.
One would be presentation. I think that is one of the major items that
Like appearance or the
all conclusive. Appearance, speaking. It's just how you go about presenting your side of the story.
Okay, so sometimes when the prospective employee comes in, or maybe even already there and they're working, there's maybe a little bit of a disconnect between, what the employer would like to see in that employee as far as physical presence, as opposed to what they're actually getting.
Yes.
Well, and work ethic and computer skills. Computer skills, basic writing and grammar skills. In order to be able to communicate not only on paper, but now in email fashion. A lot of relationships are now built through email. And one of our classes actually is business writing and email etiquette. So, that's one of the popular areas right now by businesses having us come in and teach that because, there's a real disconnect between the writing of the letter back when we were, going through school and the type of writing skills that are presented now.
Well, and I know when I get some emails and texts from people, there's an awful lot of abbreviations, a lot of grammatical challenges, and so sometimes something is lost, and particularly when you're dealing with different generations, I think.
Exactly. And, what's really wonderful is the fact that the younger generation brings a lot more computer skills than our more mature generation. Aren't I tactful in saying that? In our more mature generation, they have different ideas, they're on social media, they're doing a lot of that sort of thing, whereas we're more old school, and so they bring a new, fresh look to things. However, there's been some areas that has been lost over the years, which is, understanding work ethic, understanding commitment. Not everyone, obviously not, I'm speaking generally, but attitude and just overall presentation, as John said, and written skills and those sorts of things. So those areas are really lacking, and so when we have individuals coming in to take our classes, they really learn the whole gamut. Professionalism, what are employers looking for, this is what is expected from you, and we actually treat our classes like a place of employment. So they have to be, 10, 15 minutes early. That means you're on time. Not actually being on time, not actually 8:30, but 15 minutes past. So, yeah. And the thing is that we also, through the courses, they have to do required coursework and so forth. That is expected that you get it in on time. You may have to work on it at home. So, these are that you have to be committed. You have to show up every day,
Well, I know most of the positions I've had in the past generally require some homework. I mean, people seem to think that when you get done with school, whether that be high school or college, that now you're just focusing on the job.
Right.
Well, you got to stay current. You got to know what's going on, and that learning piece just never goes away.
Right.
And we focus on the basics. No matter how tech savvy you are, it always comes back to the basics. Integrity, dependability, punctuality, loyalty. Those are the basic things that our youth tend to forget. And we talked about writing. There's a lot of ambiguity when you write something versus you looking at me speaking to you. So you have to be careful how you write, what words you use, and that's the thing that we focus on.
Right.
And also just a basic letter format. How do you actually write something and do you read it aloud afterwards so that you're checking spelling errors and so forth, you know. So these are things that we really focus on. We're also an English second language certified, so ESL certified. So that comes into play when we're working with individuals from all kinds of different backgrounds. Yeah.
I know you mentioned, you know, some of the younger generations, but I've had some challenges with individuals of my own generation.
Absolutely.
And so there are some, I think, universal challenges that are out there that, regardless of how old you are, it would do you well to pay attention to these things.
So true.
But as you said, our generation, we bring a lot of baggage with us. The youth tend not to
I'm
bring.
trying to lose.
And I love that pound that you lost, Rich.
No pun intended, okay? But our youth, the good thing is that they don't bring a lot of baggage with them. You know, everything is new and wonderful. And they bring a lot of innovative ideas with them. And
You know, that's an interesting point, John, because I think sometimes, you know, with certain individuals, you've got to work with them to untrain them
correct.
with the habits that they have, and then retrain them with the ones that you really want.
Exactly.
And that can be a challenge.
Right.
Oh, yes.
So a part of this, also the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, which is a federal act, by the way, is the career pathways development. So it's really about developing careers rather than just, you know, a job. But even when you develop a career, you still need to have those job readiness skills, you know, so it doesn't matter what kind of career you want to go into, you still need the foundational skills. But one of the goals is, you know, technology strategies, using technology, and also bringing employers in and having employers working together and working with the state to be able to come up with, you know, some of these items that we have to look at.
Well, and sometimes the state needs a little bit of guidance as
Exactly.
to exactly what the skill sets are that the businesses are looking for.
Correct, correct.
And then there needs to be that bridge, and I guess that's where that board comes in, is to kind of act as that bridge to help bring the two together.
Yes. Yeah, well, I certainly look forward to meeting everybody on the board. I'm really looking forward to this because, you know, we're honoured to have been provided with this appointment, and you know, we are looking forward to giving us as much input and to learn as much as we can and be involved.
Very good. Well, that's, as John said, that's going to be a reason to have you come back in a few months and maybe give us an update after you've had the board meeting, or maybe two.
Yes.
And let us know how things are going.
Thank you.
But we are reaching a point where we need to take a brief, short break. We're going to come back after the break, and maybe some of this untraining and retraining issue is in the military environment.
Okay.
I think there's a huge labor pool available to us, which could really help us in some of our labor challenges here in Hawaii, and so we're going to just explore that a little bit.
Wonderful.
But this is Business in Hawaii with Reg Baker. We're here with Newman Consulting, and we're going to take a short break, and we'll be back in about 60 seconds.
Aloha, namaskar, and hello. My name is Anu Hittel, and I host the show called Climate Change Beyond Outrage. We go beyond outrage to find solutions to climate problems facing people, nations, and the world. I hope you will join me here every Tuesday at 1 o'clock. We broadcast live from thinktechhawaii.com. Aloha and bye-bye.
Hi, I'm Jay Fidel. I'm the host of the SOEST Hour, which is on Monday from 1 to 2 p.m. every Monday. SOEST stands, of course, for the School of Ocean and Earth Science and Technology at UH Manoa. We talk to faculty there, we talk to researchers there, we talk to students and graduate students there, and we talk to people who are related in one way or the other scientifically to that school. Check us out, 1 to 2 p.m. every Monday. I'm Jay Fidel. I'll see you there. Aloha.
Aloha, and welcome back to Business in Hawaii with Reg Baker. We're here today talking with Newman Consulting about the Workforce Management or Workforce Development Board, and then also some training and or retraining, helping the military transition from active duty into the civilian workforce. And so we're fortunate today to have Danelia and John here with us. How much effort do you put into helping the military in this transition process?
Well, we're a military family ourselves. John's
Yeah, I'm 26 years retired Air Force. So,
Thank you.
And
for
I've
your
been
service.
and I've been a spouse for most of that time. So, you know.
And we have military, veterans on our staff, veterans' wives on our staff, and we've gone out to Tripler to deal with some of the vets out there. And
The ones at Tripler have a unique set of circumstances
oh
you
yes,
have to
yes,
deal with.
yes.
Yes.
And I'm also 100% P&T retired,
Very good.
and
Very
that's
good.
total, permanent and total disability.
You know, and the
Very
war and the military military experience can change people.
Yes.
You know, military service can have both a negative and a positive effect on an individual and family. But by nature, this is a really resilient population with significant strengths. You know, we can talk about that just simply because we've been married for 34 years and we've been through, you know, a lot of it. John's been, you know, was active for 26 years, as you said. So there's been a couple of wars during that time. So, you know, while there's a lot of resources now than ever before to help and support service members and veterans and their families, sometimes it's really difficult because they don't know where to start. You know, one of the great things about the internet is that you can start there, but then there's not that personal relationship going on. And when you retire or whatever, and John can attest to this, there's a lot of stress involved in that. And you know, going out into the civil sector, trying to find a job, you've literally changing your life.
It's a big transition,
Yes.
and although I don't have 26 years, I spent a little over 3 years and 8 months in the military, and I spent
Right.
some time in Tripler as I was getting transitioned out. And sometimes, you know, for people in that situation, you don't know what you don't know. You don't
Right.
know what to ask. You don't know where to go for help.
Right.
You know, and there are, you know, I guess support available to help you, and this isn't negative. I mean, you when you're in that military environment, there are certain rules and regulations and style that fit that military environment, which don't always plug and play well with the civilian environment. So there needs to be some sort of an awareness of what the differences are, and maybe some coaching in helping with that transition. And
Exactly.
is that something that you would
Yes.
help with?
And that is, you hit the proverbial nail on the head. The military, the pool of veterans is vast, and the military veterans tend to play it close to the vest. They stay close to that military environment, and understanding of the transition is hard, but it has to be made if they're going to succeed in the civil sector. Our classes cover that, but you can't make a person come. You know,
They
I'm
gotta wanna
glad
come, yeah.
that we're here to show that we're there for them and they can reach out, because our courses incorporate that transition, because I had to make it, and we can relate, so they can come and have someone that can understand where they're coming from. As Danelia said, when we have interviewed individuals from past military experience, their resumes reflect tank driving instead of, you know, vehicles of major proportion of any. But it's a acronym, you know. Instead of spelling things out, they want to give a 3-letter code.
You know, it's a funny story that one of my initial ratings in one of the areas that I got trained in initially when I first went in was being a quartermaster, which is a navigator, and I used to drive ships in and out of port. And then I moved into other things and did other stuff. But on my DD-214, when I got transitioned out, it said that I could be a driver of inner waterway water vessels.
Yeah.
You know, which,
But,
you know, it
but notice
doesn't-
you said DD-214, you know, and that's another, well, what's a DD-214, you know?
So true, so
But a heavy
true.
equipment operator. And we also look at networking. That was one of the things that our vets have a fear of. And that's something that is going to be crucial in your civilian career. You're going to need to learn to network because you're not taught that in the military.
Well, and that's something that they should probably start sooner versus later, is
Oh, yes.
developing that networking. And so if you are somebody in the military and you are going to begin transitioning out within a 3-month, 6-month period, you can start doing some things to prepare yourself for that.
Absolutely, absolutely. You know, one of our goals at Newman Consulting Services is to help service members, veterans and their families get good paying jobs, because they kind of get a bit of a shock when they come out. And also it's important to, one of our goals is to connect them with other resources that are available, because well, as far as helping them get good paying jobs, one of the classes that we teach is leveraging LinkedIn for business success. And so LinkedIn is, you know, one of the world's most, important social media platforms. There's more than 400 million professionals engaged in it across the globe. And so one of our trainers is a LinkedIn expert. She works extensively with the military community and executives and business owners to establish the online branding and the professional cyber reputation. So, and for businesses, it's an essential marketing tool, which a lot of businesses don't look at. So, you know, that's one of the areas that we look at. Our next class is on April 8th. If anyone's interested, they can call our office at 596-0200.
That's what again?
596-0200.
Very good.
We also, for military members and others, we also have vocational certificate programs. One of those programs is entry-level certificate in vocational studies. And in that particular class, we actually, you know, talk about, we teach marketing yourself to employers, we help them put together their resumes, we go over the skill set and how to transition out into the civil sector, which is just so important.
Question. And I've read probably thousands of resumes. And from my experience, if the first page don't grab you, you're not going to be looking at the second page.
Exactly right. And guess what we teach? There is no second page.
Okay.
That's what we teach. There is no second page. You know, so, and a cover letter is essential, but not, you know, a whole page long, a few lines. So, you know, those are some of the things that are just so important, because in the military, you learn to be detailed, but that means 3 pages of a resume.
Well, and you know, you mentioned marketing.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, and really it is. You
Yes.
are marketing yourself. You're
Yeah.
selling yourself.
Networking.
And the packaging is
Yes.
very important. And we get back to
Presentation.
the appearance
Yeah.
again.
Presentation is everything.
Getting a job is a job.
And keeping
That's
a
the way
job
to-
is more of a job.
It's more of a job.
And, you know, we, in our tutelage, we share networking as viewed as an authentic way in order to nurture your mutual beneficial professional relationship with businesses and future employers. And that is key.
It
You
is.
know.
Well, you never know where the opportunities might come.
That's right.
That's
And-
exactly
That's right.
right.
You got to
That's
get
right.
out and be engaged and talk to people and
Right.
be constantly marketing and selling yourself.
Exactly. And so that's what we teach in there too. We actually
Yeah.
do mock interviews and so forth. So they actually learn exactly, you know, how to respond. We practice, you know, words to use and so forth. So, you know, it's really, really powerful. And we do that, you know, that's a big part of what we do. Another class that we have is a business management and applications program. That includes an 80-hour internship. So you're actually working in an employer's office in our community and getting a feel for, you know, utilizing all the skills that we taught you and utilizing that in that environment, in the business environment. So therefore you get a feel for it, you're not as nervous, and you start understanding the civilian
When
sector.
you go through this internship, do they get feedback after the
Absolutely.
internship
Oh, yes.
from the
Yes.
employer?
Yes,
And-
yes,
and-
ongoing feedback is given, and there's also a report done at the end. Yes.
And as we
yes.
know, Reg, networking isn't easy for most people, and it takes practice to project confidence and remain genuine and relatable when you're meeting strangers that could affect your future.
You know, what's always an interesting challenge to me. Oh, sorry. The I was playing around with the notes here, and I was threatening to.
It was threatening to sneeze and just blow the ball off.
She said, what are you doing? You messed up where I was. Okay, go ahead.
You know, when I'm out networking, you know, there's an interesting dilemma that takes place. Is one, how much talking do you do in order to sell yourself, as opposed to how much listening do you do to establish that
Exactly.
connection?
Exactly.
And it's really it's a dichotomy.
Yeah.
It is. And the thing is, you have to know the outcome that you want, and you have to understand that you have, as that old adage says, 2 eyes, 2 ears, and 1 mouth. Use them accordingly.
There you go.
So another one of our goals is to connect service members, veterans, and their families with, you know, as I mentioned, other resources that are available. You know, it's heartbreaking that the rate of veteran suicides per day is risen each year. Is actually at estimated that it's a rate of 35 per day as of 2015. I mean, that's
higher than
significant.
Yes.
than the national
Yes.
averages that
Oh,
it
yes.
should be.
Yeah,
That's it.
and it's just significant. And so we're actually mental health first aid certified instructors. So we've gone and we've worked with military organisations teaching mental health first aid, which is basically how do you help somebody in that kind of situation who's experiencing different types of challenges.
And how do you identify
Exactly. You
Yeah.
got to
an
identify
individual?
it first
you know,
before you can help
and
them.
once you
Right.
identify them, how
Getting the help they need.
how to get them the help that they need, or point them in the directions to get the help that they need.
Yeah.
And that is something that we went to SAMHSA. Matter of fact, SAMHSA, we went to Washington, D.C. to take this course to bring back to Hawaii. And we've dealt with Senator Sparrow and Senator
John Oakland.
They've supported us immensely in getting that out.
This is a very important topic, and I'd like to come back to this in just a minute, but we need to take a short break.
Okay.
We're going to be gone for about 60 seconds. This is Business in Hawaii. I'm here with Newman Consulting. We're talking on the topic of boots to slippers, helping the military transition from active duty to the civilian workforce. We'll be back in 60 seconds.
Aloha, my name is Justina Spiritu, and I'm the co-host of Hawaii Farmers Series. This is my co-host, Matthew Johnson, and you can catch us every Thursday at 4 p.m. at thinktechhawaii.com. What do we talk about, Matt?
So on Hawaii Farmers Series, we're going to be bringing on the farmers and also supporter of farmers, including restaurants, caterers, as well as government supporters and nonprofits to hear their background stories and understanding our local ag community just a little bit better.
Yeah, essentially, there's a lot more that goes into farming and the local food community beyond just producing the food. And we want to feature and get the background story on all these folks and see how we all work together as a community. So join us every Thursday. Aloha.
Aloha, and welcome back to Business in Hawaii with Reg Baker. We're here today talking with Newman Consulting, and we were just getting into the topic of boots to slippers, where we're helping some of the active duty military transition into the civilian workforce. And so this is a very important and very vital component. I would imagine there's really only 2 ways out of the military. Either you transition into the civilian workforce, or you don't come out.
That's
exactly
exactly
right.
right.
And so this is an important transition that has to be
yes.
taking place, and you've got programs to help with that.
Right. So also one of the programs that we're talking about and helping with military who transition out is really providing the support systems as well. You know, while we do the training piece as far as working with military members and their family members and, you know, veterans in helping to secure really good jobs, good paying jobs, there is another aspect to this, which is, you know, they might have lived on base all of their lives and now they're moving off base and there's not that cohesiveness of what am I going to do. So, you know, we are a part of a coalition of providers through a non-profit. We're actually a board member of a non-profit called Oahu Services Network. And Oahu Services Network is a coalition, as I mentioned, of providers who provide recovery support services to individuals in recovery. And so SAMHSA has recognised Oahu Services Network and actually SAMHSA is the Substance Abuse Mental Health Administration of the United States. And the types of services that we offer as a group are like housing, assistance with housing and counselling and transportation and health and wellness, the education piece, and employment and technology, which is where we come in. And actually SAMHSA is holding their regional meeting here in May, on the 10th and 11th of May. And it's at no charge, and they're welcoming any group to, you know, come in and be a part of that, particularly including military service providers, so service providers.
Tell me a little bit more about this. It's coming in May. This
Yes,
is
10th and 11th.
the 10th and 11th of May. They're going to be here, and they're trying to recruit participants to help with the program? Or
No,
what are they?
not recruit, but just they're providing a meeting to teach, and some of the topics are homelessness, also integration of at-risk youth and mentoring, issues of addiction and mental health. So those are going to be some of the topics.
And they're open
yeah.
to any organization that would like to use it as a platform to
maybe
share.
do some programs and extend
Yes,
that
to
reach
extend
and
that
the
program,
awareness.
yes.
Right,
And
and
but-
so military service providers are invited to come. I mean, you know, we would love to have some there, and OSN is Oahu Services Network is is an organisation that's helping with this.
Now, we were just touching about the situation with the suicide rates and having much higher
Yeah.
in the military versus to the civilian population. What are some of the, I guess I got a couple questions, or maybe more than a few. But what are some of the signs that you're looking for somebody that needs this kind of help, and then where do you go to get the help for them?
Well, the military, they have help, but it's like a double-edged sword. You know, if you're in a position in the military and you want to tell me that you're having suicidal thoughts, you know, it's going to affect your career. So
Very quickly.
very quickly.
Yes.
And that's one of the things that the military is working diligently to change. But there are organizations, hotlines that the military individuals could call and not be afraid of any retribution, because they'll keep what they say to themselves. So that's something that needs to be taken advantage of.
Where would somebody get this hotline number?
We do actually teach that in our class, and I don't have the hotline number right here.
But they
I'll
can
be
go
happy
online.
to get it to
They can
you,
go
so
online.
they could go
Suicidal,
online to it.
it's out there online, you know, suicidal help, help. Just Google help, Google, it's there online for them to get ready.
Suicide hotline.
Yeah,
Yeah, suicide hotline.
And they've got for teens as well. It's not only for adults, but they have a suicide hotline for teenagers.
Okay.
And the thing is, not to shift gears, but to get back to the transition. Our courses are geared to help military individuals transition into civilian sector because of myself and the staff that we employ, because I had the same challenge. You know, it's there. The military addresses it, but I don't, well, you know, this is a Newmanism. I think they could have.
Newmanism?
A Newmanism.
Newmanism.
I think that they could do a lot more, because after you've done your 20, 30 years, you know, you're no longer an asset, you know, so we're going to move on. But we have it.
Well, some people would say that, but I kind of look at myself as an asset,
Oh, yes.
at least to some people.
Yeah. Hey, but we're talking military.
Yeah,
And
well-
I hope the adjutant general is not watching that.
I know I can't run as fast as I used to, which means I can't retreat as fast as I used to. So there's pluses and minuses, right?
Oh, yes.
You know, let's get back to the networking for just
Yes.
a minute or two. You know, there's a lot of different ways to network, and I think if you are on the cusp of being transitioned out and you're looking and exploring your options, there's groups you can join, and there's areas that you can go to and begin this networking process. I know, Danelia, you and I met at the Hawaii
Yes,
Chamber of
that's
Commerce.
Thank
true.
you.
And so that's a group that you've become very involved in.
Yes, very involved. And you know, we joined the Chamber of Commerce, and it's just been a wonderful
Experience.
organisation to be a part of.
Oh, yeah.
Not only for business, but just with other people who are involved in the Chamber of Commerce. We're actually a member of the Hawaii Chamber of Commerce Workforce and Development and Education Committee, which you're
That's a
aware of.
perfect fit for you.
Yeah, so we're very grateful to be a part of that committee. You know, part of that committee is looking at education, looking at job readiness skills, which is exactly our forte. You know, improving the education system, mentoring programs, and so forth. So you know, it's just been a real pleasure to be involved that way. And the Chamber's very involved in the community and everything,
Yes.
and
that's
it's
what
really
I
helped
wanted
us
to say.
do that.
Because people don't understand when they talk about the Chamber of Commerce. It's a very caring organization. It reaches out to help. They're always looking to help someone. You know, it's not about them, it's about us. And that's what makes them so strong.
Mm-hmm.
And that was one of the reasons that we joined, and we're happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, and I've been a member of the Chamber for probably close to 30 years now.
Yeah.
Wow.
And been very involved, and
Yes.
you know, it's a good group of people.
Yes.
You know, and whenever they get together, they tend to collaborate, they
Yes.
talk, they make introductions.
Yes.
You know, there's a lot of engagement.
Right.
You know, but you have to show up.
That's right. And you know, a lot of people say, oh well, you know, the monthly networking events. You know, it's
Business after
Yeah,
hours,
yeah, right,
yeah.
after hours. But you know, it's great because we just have really had the opportunity to meet other business owners and to talk about challenges, which then we take back to our business. And when we're teaching classes, we're able to incorporate that into the classes.
Sure.
So you know, it's been very valuable, and we've been, you know, very happy.
Good, and you know, it's a great area that if you do have a business or you're
Mm-hmm.
thinking about having a business, and I would think some of the military folks that are coming out
Yes.
are exploring those options.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great place to get a mentor,
Yes.
you know, to
Absolutely.
find somebody who's maybe even done the business that you're thinking about
Right.
and hear about their experiences.
And what you just said was the key. It's a great place to get a mentor. The military teaches us to plan. There's no better teacher. And when you transition out of that military, I think the Chamber's maybe one of your first stops that they should make.
Yeah, particularly if you're starting a business or want to start a business. But, you know, one of the things is that we just want, you know, military veterans and so forth to know that there is support. You know, we'd be happy to support them in any possible way. And also, you know, even helping them going back into, to be able to help them with numbers and so forth to contact certain organisations in the military. You know, that's very important. It's just, you know, from our perspective, just because we've been through it, is not feeling alone, knowing that there are organisations, there are people out there who want to help, and it's just a phone number around.
It can be a scary transition.
Oh, yes. But just as our staff brings over 50 years of military service to bear. So they can come and understand that they will be understood.
I know when I went through it, and I know you did, I mean, I was used to being told when to wake up, where to go, wait for your orders,
Yes.
That's
do
right.
exactly what you're told, and when you're done, you go home unless they call you back. And so
Right.
there's a lot of structure.
Right.
Yes.
And then
Lot
when
of
you
structure.
leave that very structured environment where
Yes.
everything is basically provided for
Right.
you into the civilian world
Yeah.
where you're pretty much left to sink or swim,
Right.
it can be a scary transition for some people.
Well, and that's what we talk about. You're in your comfort zone, and then when you step out of that comfort zone, there's a lot of fear, and that fear creates a lot of stress. So how do you make that transition? That's absolutely crucial,
Well-
and that's why we're able to help people through our LinkedIn class, be able to put together something that's really spectacular. You know, help them with those job readiness skills, because you know we do have military who come in and veterans and so forth, members who say, well, you know, I've got all this experience, why won't people hire me? We understand the experience, but there's a whole nother part of that you have to learn to transition into the civil sector.
Because as a military veteran, you bring a lot to the table. The basics are already there. The integrity, the dependability, the loyalty, the punctuality, it's already there. And business owners are searching for that. So a lot of the members sell themselves short and they focus on the wrong thing. But we are there to assist them.
Absolutely, to help guide and mentor
Yes.
the
Absolutely,
process.
absolutely.
Probably, you know, and you may have your own, but one of the bits of advice that I like to share, you know, as a takeaway, is that you've always got to be ready to keep on learning. Yes, you've got a lot of experience. Yes, you had command of millions,
Exactly
tens of
right.
millions of dollars of assets. But it didn't fit exactly in what the employer's looking for.
Right.
So you got to be willing to learn and
Right.
customize that base of knowledge and those skills to what they want. It's a sales game. It's a
Exactly.
marketing game.
And not only that, but understand that you may be at this level in the military, but when you come out, you might be starting at this level. And you've got to have the humility to understand that you've been given an opportunity to build on that. So once employers see what you bring to the table, once they see, you know, that you're learning, that you've got a great attitude, that you've got all those skills that we've talked about, it's amazing how fast you will grow.
Exactly.
And then other
Yeah.
doors will open.
And other doors
That's
will
right.
open. Yeah.
It's
You can
about tailoring.
accelerate.
Yeah.
Yes.
You put two people at an equal level, and the
Yes.
one that's got all the experience and the right attitude and willing to learn
Right.
and have an experienced background, they're going to
Right.
accelerate right past the other one.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah, so, you know, it's a joy for us to be able to do it. We're very blessed to be able to do community service and to be able to have our business. You know, we've had our business for over 30 years. And so, you know, and we've been very, you know, challenges along the way. But, you know, even for us, when John was PCS'd out, meaning that, you know, he was sent out, I couldn't know where he was.
PCS.
PS, I'm a military spouse. But, you know, I wouldn't know where he was or anything, and I had to take care of our family and business and everything else. And, you know, so there are unique challenges. One of the things we've done is hire military spouses for jobs. And even though,
Tremendous you know, asset there as well.
absolutely. And even though they might only be there for 3 years, what they bring to the table is huge.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, I wish we had more time to
I know.
continue the
Okay.
conversation, but we're going to have you back again after you've had a
Okay.
couple board meetings, and
Yeah.
we can continue this. I think this is an area that can solve a lot of our labor issues in
Yeah.
Hawaii
Okay.
if we were just figuring out a way to tap into it.
Yeah,
But
I look forward to doing it.
thank
Yeah.
you for being on the show today.
Thank you, Reg.
This is Reg Baker, Business in Hawaii. We broadcast live every Thursday from 2 to 3 o'clock at the ThinkTech Studios. I wanted to thank the technicians that we've got here today, Nick and Zuri. They always do a great job, even when she does whisper in my ears at times. But thank you very much for being here, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Hello.